Hello, everybody, and welcome to National Sports. I'm your host, Jared Dillard. It's been a weird week for me. I'm actually not on the Weagle radio station. I'm actually not even in Auburn. I'm back home in Smith Station, Alabama, sitting in my computer room recording this. I have Thursday night football up above me. The Colts are playing. It's actually pretty comfortable in here. I may actually just do my show in here every week. So they were putting in a new automation system in Weagle, and there were some things going around in Weagle and Eagle Eye, and it was really chaotic. And I decided to do my show on Thursday, do it Thursday night, upload it Friday morning, so I won't be live Friday at noon like I usually am, but I'll still be there in spirit, So that's the situation right now. So I guess we're just gonna jump in like we usually do. First, we're just gonna go to Auburn. They had their homecoming game against San Jose State. Auburn won 35-21. Sean White was 6 for 10 for 800 yards. I wish. 108 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Peyton Barber, 147 yards, 5 touchdowns. He really came out and played well for us. So I wasn't feeling all too confident during the game, It was nice to see Auburn on the winning side for most of the game. But, man, San Jose State come in on homecoming, and they were, putting out big play after big play after big play, and really, it was amazing, Sean White, he played well. I mean, yes, 6 completions, 108 yards. I can't argue with that. But I'm going to point out one thing. I still don't think this offense is just tailored to him at all, whatsoever. I feel like they're still doing or trying to do these small plays and hoping they break out. Like Auburn, the last 2 years was known for the big plays. They always were. And it feels like I guess it feels like we're not really trying for the big plays. We're playing more smart football. Like West Coast, get a couple yards here, which isn't a bad system. Don't get me wrong. It can work if you have the system for it and you have the players for it. I don't think Auburn has the players for it. They're the big play guys. And like Sean White, I think the offense just isn't playing to his strengths, really. I mean, I wanted to see him throw the ball more. I really did. And I also want to see him run the ball more. I feel like he's a good, solid running quarterback. I mean, he's no Cam Newton, He's no Nick Marshall. But he can run. And that may be another thing. That may be just something like, okay, look, he's a redshirt freshman. He's in his first couple of games. Let's not throw him out there, and get beat up. Because, we want him as our quarterback. But I just think it would help him so much if he played the option, the read option, like we did with Nick Marshall. It opened up big plays. And I think he'll be doing a lot better. I mean, the defense can also help him, which I think they're going to step up to the plate eventually, and they'll get the stops when he needs it. They're especially going to need it when they play Kentucky in 2 weeks, It's going to be his first road game. And I don't think he can end the game with 6 attempts. You're going to have to trust him to throw the ball. You're going to have to trust him to run the ball. He's running the Auburn offense. He knows what's expected of him in an Auburn offense like this. You're going to be expected to do the read option. You're going to be expected to take the ball sometimes. You're going to be expected to find those smart passes over the middle, those deep passes downfield. He has an arm. Let him show it off. The kid is good. I just think they're holding him back a little bit. I will say I'm glad Auburn's going back to the run game. Peyton Barber, 147 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had all 5 of Auburn's touchdowns. It's nice to see them commit to it and not panic and rely on Sean White. So, okay, you can establish the run game now, which is a good thing. But now it's time to get Sean White to do his thing. He's a good quarterback with a good arm. Um, Another thing that happened in Auburn football, Duke Williams no longer with the team, no longer at the university. Talked about it on another show. Duke Williams got into an altercation at a nightclub, and Gus Malzahn dismissed him from the team. Uh, it's I never like seeing NFL players, college players. I don't like seeing athletes go through that decline, especially college players, because they have so much in front of them, and it just sucks seeing that decline. But at the same time, you gotta know when to be an adult and when it's time to be a kid and have fun and not get in trouble. All right, you can be a kid and have fun and not get in trouble. Okay, and it's sad. He just kept getting in trouble. He had a promising career, and you know what? He may still have that career. He could turn it around, be a role model that a lot of people want him to be. And then if he does, it's a feel good story. But if he doesn't, it's just a really sad situation. I don't want to see him like that. Nobody wants to see him like that. But, you gotta learn from your mistakes. So maybe in the end, getting in trouble like this and being kicked off the team, maybe it'd be good for him. Maybe he'll learn his mistakes and do better for wherever he goes. So maybe right now it may not seem like it, but maybe, it's a blessing in disguise. So, going on to different games. Number 3, Ole Miss took on number 25, Florida. And, boy, I picked Ole Miss. And, by the time the second half rolled around, it was obvious that Florida was going to run away with that game. Man, I'm really impressed with Florida, Like, going into the season, I didn't think much of Florida, Getting a new head coach, man, I just really think it was going to take a couple of years for Florida to get back up there. But, man, they really shot up the ladder. I mean, they're number 11 now in the rankings. I didn't think Florida would crack the top 25, really. You expect the team to have a down year, but no, they're going to come out firing, They beat Ole Miss. Now, whether or not Ole Miss deserved to be number 3 in the first place, because people point out, hey, Ole Miss beat Alabama, but, really, Alabama beat themselves, had 5 turnovers, so then get to the whole argument that turnovers are part of the game and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but they handled Ole Miss. And Ole Miss didn't look like Ole Miss. Let's go ahead and put that out there. But don't take any credit away from Florida. They went up there, they played well. It was a great home crowd for them. The Swamp was rocking, and it was nice to see Florida back on top, Even if it may be for a little bit, 1, 2, 3 weeks. It's nice to see Florida doing good, It makes you think if Muschamp was back in Florida still, would he still be having the success, I guess it's just better not to look at it that way, really. But Will Grier, 271 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a stellar game. Will Grier looking like the guy for Florida. He spread the love too. A lot of players had catches. I think all 4 of his touchdowns were to different players. So he knows how to spread the field. And that Florida defense, give it up for the defense, Go ahead and clap for them because they played lights out. They played exceptionally well. So I'm really looking forward to what Florida does in the SEC. Especially that, the SEC is looking as even as it, it ever has been. So that's going to be exciting to see what Florida can do in their division of the SEC and how Ole Miss is going to rebound. They got to win over Alabama, and that's great and all, if you get to a tiebreaker with Alabama. But now, you got to play the SEC schedule, and you got to make sure you don't fall behind, You got to keep winning. You got to find a way to win. You got to find a way to bounce back and get these big wins in SEC play. So, another game that I did pick right. Number 6 Notre Dame lost to number 12 Clemson 24-22. and it was actually closer. Like, if you saw the last 5 minutes of the game and you switch and you're like, oh, it's over, it actually got really close. And I mean really close. I mean, Notre Dame almost tied the game up and almost went to overtime. They didn't get the 2-point conversion, and they fell to Clemson. Deshaun Kaiser for Notre Dame had 321 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And Deshaun Watson for Clemson had 97 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. So, that was my thing. I always thought Notre Dame was always ranked too high in the beginning of the season. And I'm not going to say this proved it, because they're beat up like no other team that I could think about. They have so many injuries. And that played a big part in the reason why they lost this game. And they still had a couple of those players that they lost to injury. Would they would have won this game? Most likely. I think they would have won this game. Clemson played well in the first half. Second half, they were a little bit sluggish. I'm not sure I'm too high on Clemson, to be quite honest. I know they jumped up there. I think they're 6 right now. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they're number 6 in the nation now. And man, like I know I picked Clemson to win, but I didn't pick Clemson to win because I thought Clemson was a good football team. I picked Clemson to win because I just thought the injuries would catch up on Notre Dame, and it did. I don't expect Clemson to be in the top 10 for much longer. And I'll get to that in a second. But Notre Dame went down. They're going to bounce back. Deshaun Kaiser still had a good game, even though he threw a pick. I mean, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a good outing for a college quarterback, especially him who's coming in when, honestly, he probably didn't think he's going to play this year. So he's adapting very well. And I think Notre Dame will be okay. Like I said a couple weeks ago, they probably won't escape the season. They'll probably have about 3 losses, I think, by the end of the season. I think those injuries are just going to keep mounting on them, Especially you get farther into the season, there's going to be more injuries for every team. You gotta look at that. Another game, Pac-12. Here we go. Arizona State 38 over number 7 UCLA 23. Did not expect this one. I really thought UCLA was going to handle their business and on to the next game, but they didn't. Arizona State quarterback I don't even know how to say that. Baroki. I'll figure that out later. Arizona State quarterback, I'm just going to call him Big Mike. There we go. Arizona State quarterback Big Mike had 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. And Josh Rosen, the quarterback for UCLA, had 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So they both played well. Both had turnovers. That's okay. They threw 2 touchdowns, This game was actually interesting because the only part of the highlights that I saw when I went back and watched was when UCLA intentionally, the long snapper intentionally hiked the ball over the punter's head to get to safety, so they wouldn't, so Arizona State wouldn't have good field position. But I thought, man, that's a great strategy. I would never thought of that. But then what's not a great strategy is that when Arizona State had the ball, you literally let the running back push a pile about 20 yards down the field for a touchdown. Man, the defense, at that point, you got nothing to lose. It's time to take out some legs or something. But Arizona State got the win. I said in the beginning of the year that one of the Arizona teams would win the Pac-12. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I'm actually liking Utah now. But Arizona State proving that A&M loss, they're not treading on it too bad. They went in there and they beat a good UCLA team. Arizona State's playing lights out in this game. They would put up 38 points on UCLA. In the last game, number 13 Alabama took on number 8 Georgia. Oh boy, this game. Okay, so end of the first quarter, Alabama, Georgia, 3-3. I'm thinking, oh man, this is gonna be a game right here. It's gonna be a slobber knocker. It's gonna be, lights out, defensive battle, in the trenches, fighting, everything. I thought, oh man, this would be a good game. By the time third quarter rolled around, it was obvious the game was over. And I was just so disappointed. I can at least have a good game right there. Like, come on, guys. Alabama defense really stepped up and played the game well. I mean, Lambert, the quarterback for Georgia, they took him out of the game. Put in their backup quarterback who threw an interception on his first pass, I believe. So he didn't have a very good outing. Lambert didn't have a very good outing, and it showed one of the weaknesses in Georgia's offense, and it's that they relied heavily on Nick Chubb, which, congratulations, Nick Chubb. 12 games, 100 yards, over 100 yards rushing. He got that 100 yards on a big scamper down the field, and I was actually happy that at least Georgia got to walk away with something in that game. Nick Chubb tying Herschel Walker's streak of 100-yard games with 12. But Alabama's defense really stepped up, and Alabama's showing that, Ole Miss game, we turned the ball over 5 times. Ole Miss didn't beat us, we beat ourselves. And there was a lot of talk, There was that one discussion that somebody said, it may have been on ESPN, if Alabama loses, the dynasty's over. And I was like, wow, that's actually a big statement, Because it was only, when Cam Newton played, 2010, that Alabama had about 3 losses. And I didn't think the dynasty was over either at that time. They would just had their second loss here, It would have been an SEC play, both of them. But I didn't think the dynasty would be over. I think the dynasty's over when Alabama wins less than 8 games. That's when the dynasty's over. And even at that, they'll probably bounce back anyway. I don't see Alabama going away for like another, at least 5 to 8 years. So, props to Alabama's defense. Props to their offense. Their offense is looking in rhythm. Alabama has the tough games coming up. I'm pretty sure they play A&M soon, so that's gonna be an interesting game to watch because A&M, they have a good passing offense, whereas Alabama, I think their secondary is probably one of the weakest parts of their team. So this week, I'm going to start giving out my first 4 in, first 4 out of the college rankings. It's like, how the College Football Playoff Committee comes out with their rankings. Well, I want to get my first 4 teams in, who would be in the playoffs, and then the first 4 teams out, who are looking into making the playoffs. So, number 1, and honestly, I'm going to say it right now, I don't think there really is a number 1, I don't think there is a number 1 team right now. But if I had to put somebody somewhere, I will put Baylor at number 1. And I didn't feel good about doing that either, But they played some competition. I almost said good, but that would have been a lie. They played some competition, and they know how to put up points, But I put them at 1. Then I really don't feel comfortable about that decision. At number 2, I put Michigan State. Now, you guys probably know, really high on Michigan State. I just think that I would have put Michigan State at number 1 if it wasn't for the Purdue game. They really laid an egg there. They should have did a lot better than they did. It almost got out of hand, that Purdue game. If it wasn't for that Purdue game, I would have put them at number 1. But I'm a little concerned that they have a number of injuries out there. Michigan State has to play Michigan in a couple weeks. How they play against Michigan will really tell me where they are when it comes to being championship contenders in college football, Had to get some tissues because I'm just not feeling good right now. 1 second. You know it's fall when your allergies start acting up a little bit. So, for number 3, I have Utah, which like I said earlier, I'm a little high on. Pac-12 power. They're looking like the favorite to win the Pac-12 right now, which I think at this point anybody can still win the Pac-12. But man, Utah, they're looking good. They surprised me with that Oregon game. It would have been nice to see what Oregon would have done with Vernon Adams. But Utah, right up there, number 3. I would like them in. I would like to see them play. Number 4, TCU. Now, I had a problem with this too, because honestly, TCU and Baylor are the same team if you think about it. Really good offenses, and the defense is just meh. Really, that's pretty much the Big 12 in a nutshell. Maybe except for Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a little bit of something, But TCU, I struggle with TCU. Like, honestly, I probably could have flipped Baylor and TCU and called it a day. But the only reason I didn't put TCU above Baylor is because they both played Texas Tech and Baylor did better. That was the only reason Baylor is above TCU. And honestly, it's going to sort itself out because Baylor has to play TCU and Oklahoma has to play TCU and Baylor. So, like, all that's going to sort itself out. There's only be one Big 12 team. There's not going to be 2. Unless they all beat each other once, and I don't know what you're going to do then. So if you're wondering where Ohio State is at, number 5. I'm just not big on Ohio State. I wasn't big on them after Northern Illinois. I'm not big on them after Indiana. And, oh Lord, when they have to play a real team like Michigan or Michigan State, they may be in some trouble. It's really concerning in the way Ohio State is playing. It's exciting, Everybody loves some exciting college football, so I'll give, Ohio State that. But one of these days, they're going to go into the fourth quarter losing, and they're going to think, we're going to come back like we always do. And, well, then you get a turnover, and the game's over. And you're no longer number 1, I'm surprised that Michigan State played Purdue, won, and dropped 2 spots. When Ohio State played Indiana, which credit Indiana is they were an undefeated team. They were 4-0 at the time. So give credit to Indiana. It's not like there was some pushover team. Purdue had a losing record. I can see that. But surprising after Ohio State's played Indiana and how they've played Northern Illinois is that they haven't dropped. I thought they would at least be number 2 by now. I thought after that Indiana game, Ohio State has to drop at least 1 spot. But they didn't. And it may be because maybe they didn't think Baylor and TCU were that much better either. Which, if you think about it, that is true. Baylor and TCU, they're undefeated, but they give up a lot of points and they give up a lot of yards. And you couldn't put Michigan State up at number 1 because of the way they played against Purdue. If they would have blown Purdue out, then maybe they would have jumped Ohio State for number 1, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, number 6, I got LSU. LSU is a concerning pick because I still don't know how their quarterback's going to play if he has to throw the ball, They're a running threat. They may end up like the Georgia outcome, If a team somehow stops Leonard Fournette on the ground and they have to rely through the air, to win the game, they may just lose. They may show how one-dimensional they are unless that quarterback can step up, Number 7, I have Texas A&M. I think, really, out of the first 4 teams out, I'm going to say Alabama's number 8. Out of the first 4 teams out, Ohio State, LSU, A&M, and Alabama, that A&M may be the most complete package. I think they're good all the way around. Alabama, the only thing I'm worried about is their secondary. And I'm worried about their kicking game because their kicker is not all that good. I'm going to point that out there. I feel bad for him when he goes up there and has a kick because you just got to pray for him, But But I think A&M is the most complete out of the next 4 teams out. And I also think Alabama at number 8. I also think Alabama could be higher if it's just not for the unpredictability of them. Like, you had 5 turnovers one game, and granted, you were still in the game. You know, if it happens again and you lose, like, I can't put you in the top 10. So, you just gotta watch out for Alabama and see what they do out there, you know? So, now I'm gonna go to my game picks, and you're gonna think, this is crazy. Like, Jared, you're not in Colorado. What are you smoking? So, Georgia Tech at number 6 Clemson. Like, okay, look, Clemson is that team that is not supposed to lose that game. They always lose the games they're not supposed to. Coming off this high against Notre Dame. Being ranked 6, in the nation, do they deserve it? They may not. I just feel like they're going to drop this game to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is not having a good time right now either. They're under 500. They're going to find their way. But Clemson always loses the game they're not supposed to. I mean, come on. I just think Georgia Tech will pick up the win. Number 19, Georgia, Tennessee. I think Georgia has been exposed for who they aren't. Or I think they've been exposed. And I just think that their passing game is not what people thought it was. It's not very good. They rely heavily on the run to set up the pass. And our Tennessee knows this. Tennessee can play football. They had Oklahoma, lost. They had Florida State, lost. Let me put it this way. Tennessee knows to play 3 quarters of football. 4th quarter, nobody knows what happens. But Tennessee, they're playing at home. They know what they got to do to beat Georgia. There's the game plan is out there. And, man, I'm just picking Tennessee. Man, they're playing at home. It's hard. I mean, for me, it's hard not to pick Tennessee. So, now, there's Navy, Notre Dame, number 15 Notre Dame. Don't blink, but not Notre Dame, but Navy's undefeated. Navy, they're 4-0. Watch out. They always play Notre Dame close. And Notre Dame is banged up. And they're coming off that loss. They're playing at home. It'll be good for them. But Navy always presents problems for Notre Dame. And they will continue to do so. And they'll pick up the win against Notre Dame. Number 13, Northwestern. Number 18, Michigan. Look, okay. It's nice to see both of these teams doing well. Especially Northwestern. About to crack that top 10. And Michigan, coming off, having a new coach. Having a disappointing season. It's nice to see them up there in the ranks again. But I'm picking Michigan. You're playing in the big house. And Michigan, man, they're going to ride that Harbaugh wave and, into a national championship in a couple of years eventually, 4 or 5 years down the road, if he's still there. I'm going to pick Michigan to win this game. It should be a close one. It should be entertaining. But I'm going to pick Michigan. Number 21, Oklahoma State versus West Virginia. I'm going to pick Oklahoma State. I really didn't know what to pick in this game, to be quite honest. They're both really good teams, and it's probably a toss-up. I could probably toss a coin and be right. But I'm going to pick Oklahoma State over West Virginia. I just think if it goes into a shootout, Oklahoma State can win. Granted, West Virginia's playing at home. So, West Virginia probably has this game in the bag. And I'm just naive and think Oklahoma State will win because they're ranked. Actually, I'll take that back. Give the win to West Virginia. They're playing at home. Home's a big thing. So, give my pick to West Virginia. Go ahead and do that. But I won't change this one, though. Number 2, TCU at Kansas State. I'm going to pick Kansas State. I think this is the week TCU just falls apart. I think this is it. If you have a good offense, you can score on them. Does Kansas State have a good offense? I mean, they're having quarterback problems. But TCU is beatable. They showed that. They should have lost. For me, they already have a loss in the loss column. You know? And, that's probably unfair because a lot of teams have those kind of games. But I think Kansas State playing at home can pull off that victory. I don't know. This one's really weird. Number 12 Florida State at Miami, and I picked Miami. Why? I don't know either, to be quite honest. I'm just feeling the Canes right now. I mean, they dropped a couple of games. Florida State, their running back is hurt. So we got to see how that's going to go. But, Miami playing at home, big, rival. Man, you got to think, it's going to be a fight. Night game, 7 o'clock. It's going to be interesting. And Florida State hasn't played very well, they didn't play very well against Wake Forest. And they scare me sometimes with the teams they play. So, we'll see how that goes. Number 5, Utah in California. I know Evan Blank is really high on his boy Jared Goff in number 23, California. And I'm sorry, but I got to pick number 5, Utah. I think they're really impressive. Utah, they're the emerging star out of the Pac-12. A Pac-12 race that's muddled now. Last week the Pac-12 was looking like a really strong conference, and now it's just like, well, your two heavy hitters are going at it. And there's like there's going to be one team left standing in a couple of weeks. It looks like a true favorite. At the beginning of the year, I said Arizona State will win the Pac-12. And now Utah, here comes Utah. Here come the Utes. And they're looking like a good team right now. So we'll see where Utah goes. They're my favorite right now. Like that, if I could change my pick, they're my favorite right now to win the Pac-12. I think they put together a really good outing, a really good season. They completely shut down Oregon. I mean, that's only one game. It seems weird to run so high on a team, and they played one game against a team where they didn't have the starting quarterback. Switching over to MLB postseason. So the Rangers played the Blue Jays today. Excuse me. So, I had to blow my nose right there. So the Rangers played the Blue Jays today and won 5-3. David Price did not have a very good out. I think I got his team wrong. How about the Blue Jays didn't have a very good outing against the Rangers. Toronto, they tried to make a comeback, but they couldn't, and they dropped the game. I still think, I'm going to give my prediction in these series. I still think Toronto will win in 4. I like the Blue Jays. They can hit. They showed they can be dangerous even when they're down. And Texas just be glad they have a good, they had some good pitching today. But we got to see if that's going to hold up, Especially if it does go into Game 5 or something like that. The Blue Jays are playing at home. Maybe it's just postseason jitters that got them this week or today. But I'm still liking the Blue Jays in this game. Houston, Kansas City. I'm taking Kansas City in 5. I think Houston is on a big upswing. And, I don't think really anybody expect them to be in the postseason until, the next year. But it's exciting to see Houston playing so well right now. They're playing big Kansas City. They're playing one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. So that's going to be nice to see. So there's an update on the game, Astros and Royals. The Astros are winning 3-1, but it's being delayed right now. Not that it matters anyway. By the time you hear this, the game would have been over anyway, because this is pre-recorded. I still think Kansas City will win in 5 right now, and Houston better luck next year. I think they'll win their division next year. They're a really good team, and they could add a couple key components that they're missing, and they'll figure it out. I mean, they're a young team. It's not like they're going anywhere. So, over in the National League, Chicago at St. Louis. Chicago got in because they beat Pittsburgh. I wanted Pittsburgh to win because the Cardinals can beat Pittsburgh. If you want to know, I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm so confident in my team beating Pittsburgh but against the Cubs, I don't know. I'm picking St. Louis in 5. They have home field. Chicago's going to get a couple wins. I'm not concerned about that. They're going to win some games. But I think St. Louis will win it out. And the Colts just got an interception. They're running it back. The Thursday night game is on right now. And the Mike Adams just got an interception. He's running it back. So congratulations to the Colts. That's my favorite team right there. It was a tip pass, and that's why it sounded like if it sounded like I got confused, and it sounds like I'm still confused, it's because I'm just watching football and trying to talk at the same time about baseball. Like, I can't multitask. This was probably the worst idea I ever had, trying to film a radio show at home, sick, nose stuffy, in the dark. And trying to talk about two different sports, or trying to talk about baseball and watch football at the same time. So St. Louis they can beat Chicago in 5, and the Dodgers and Mets. In my opinion, this is probably the least relevant. It's still relevant, and I still enjoy watching it, but this is the one that excites me the least out of the 4. I'm taking the Dodgers in 4. It seems pretty generic. You pick all the top teams, to go on, but man, you gotta watch out for these wildcard teams because they're dangerous. Excuse me, it's almost over soon. I'm gonna go take some medicine. This is just horrible. But you gotta watch for the wildcard teams, especially the Cubs. Honestly, out of the Cubs and Cardinals series, whoever wins that series, in my opinion, is going to the World Series. Hands down, is happening. For me, at least. I think they can walk into the playoffs pretty easily. I'm just not that big on the Mets with the Dodgers, really. And shout out to the Yankees roster, okay? Cause I was watching the Yankees game, and last 2 innings they got completely booed from their own fans. If I played for the Yankees, I would not want to play for that organization anymore. But then somebody pointed out, the expectations when you play for the Yankees, but man, to get booed out of your own stadium, was losing not enough? Was losing your home stadium not enough? I gotta get booed out of there as well. I wouldn't re-sign with the Yankees. Then again, I'm not making millions of dollars, so money talks. So yeah, picking Toronto in 4, Kansas City in 5, St. Louis in 5, LA in 4. I don't think anybody will sweep anybody. I think all these teams are just really good, and they're going to get at least one win. There goes Frank Gore running down the field. I'm mostly commentating on the Colts game at this point. He's down to the 35-yard line. I might as well. I mean, wouldn't that be fun? Me just commentating on the whole game. I could just do sports radio commentating on the game. So I'm going to go to some NFL picks right quick. So I was 36 and 26 last week. 10 above 500. So I'm actually doing pretty well. Chicago, Kansas City. I picked Kansas City. Cincinnati over Seattle. Atlanta over Washington. Jacksonville over Tampa Bay. Philadelphia over New Orleans. Baltimore over Cleveland. Hashtag start my boy Johnny Manziel. Green Bay over St. Louis. Buffalo over Tennessee. Arizona over Detroit. Detroit. Hashtag tank for picks. New England over Dallas. Denver over Oakland. The Giants over the 49ers. I'm going to pick San Diego over Pittsburgh in the Sunday night game. And then, Monday night game. Then Atlanta over New Orleans in the Thursday night game. Those are my picks. I'm feeling pretty confident in them. I think that undefeated this week. I'm feeling really good about all these picks. Baltimore. Let's talk about this. Philly, New Orleans. That's an elimination game. They're both 1-3. They got to find something. They're looking for something. You can't be 1-4 and think, oh man, playoffs. You think if you're 1-4, you got to think, oh man, who will get in the draft at this point? At that point, it may be time to go back to the drawing board. But I mean, what you gonna do? You gotta win games. You want to be good, you gotta win games. I mean, obviously, what am I saying anymore? I'm literally just watching the highlights of the Colts football game, and I'm just saying random stuff now because I'm just so focused on football right now, and Matt Hasselbeck rolling to the right. He throws, and there's going to be a flag on number 24 for Houston. It's like Joseph. So there's going to be pass interference. I'm just commentating on the game at this point. It's just so horrible. But, oh wait, penalty. Okay, this will be the final. This will be the final conversation. All right, Seattle, Detroit, that Monday night game. You know where I'm going with this. That call, the call. The ball gets batted out of bounds. It's a penalty. Honestly, I'm going to say it. When it happened, I thought, is that a penalty? I didn't think much about it until, like, after the game was over, they're talking about how, yeah, that was a penalty. And I'm like, I can see why it's a penalty. But, man, talk about the Lions getting, they're looking out on a win, And these referees, yeah, I feel a little bad for them, And then the Lions, I feel bad for the Lions, too, because they're not going to get that call. They're not going to get that win back. So, what's the point? Well, I'm going to end the show today, or tonight, or whatever time you're listening. I'm going to end the show, and the Colts with the field goal out of Vinatieri, 48 yards out, and it's good. 3-0 Colts, but you already know the score to the game because it's like Friday morning. So, that's it for me. I'll see you guys next week, or, they're setting up a new system in Weagle, so a lot of the shows are not going to happen next week. Plus, Auburn has fall break, so we're not going to be there Friday. I'll probably film Tuesday and upload it Wednesday. And then next week after that, I don't know, but I'll be around. I'll probably do the same thing I did at home. It's actually nice doing it here. I probably need to turn that TV off so I can actually concentrate and not be sick, so I'm not blowing my nose into the mic, because that's just disgusting. But that's the show. I hope you guys have a good Friday, and thank you for watching.